So basically, that's just the part one, just how to install. Part two is go ahead and DC promo changes to a domain controller, and then after that we're going to install the DNS server and the HCP. So follow step by step again. So as you can see, when you first boot up and log in, here's your default initial configuration tasks. If you don't want it to show up for next logon, you can click here to disable that. So here we already have the IP address, the server name. It's still in a work group. So what we need to do is to install the roles. So we click on add roles. And before we begin, you can read more details. Just click next. And here we have a series of roles that you can install on this computer. Our concern is Active Directory, domain, and services. And in order to install Active Directory, we need to install the 3.51 features for .NET Framework. It's a required features. Click on that. And once this is done, we go ahead and install the HTTP and DNS as well. So let's start with this one. Click next. And here's the introduction of Active Directory. What it is basically store information about users, computer, and other devices on the network. And you can spend time read more details if you want to. Just click next. And here's what it said, that once this is done, you have to run the dcpromo.exe file for it to promote. And here's where we'll be installing the feature .NET Framework 3.51. And this will take pretty short. So I'm going to resume when it's completed. Okay, as you see, the Active Directory services is already successfully installed and the .NET Framework. So just click OK, close. And let's go to the Start Run menu and type DC promo. You will see the exe processor. Click on that. Okay, so here's the welcome screen to the Active Directory Services installation wizard. If you know what you're doing, you should use the advanced installation mode. It has other extra, advanced stuff that you want to use. This part, I just go ahead and use the general one. So click next, and it's just tell you that operating system compatibility 2008. Click next. Here we need to understand the two types of deployment configurations. Since this is a brand new, we're going to create a new domain in a new forest. If we already have a new existing forest and domains out there, we can choose to add additional domain controller to existing domain or create a new domain in existing forest. Basically everything's brand new to us, so this is what we're going to choose. And domain name, okay, this is what you want to log on to your domain, what you want to be called. So people, we have a vmwire.net web domain out there already, so we want to use vmwire.local.com whatever, but using those might be confusing, but this is my lab, so I know what I'm doing, so I just want to use the .net instead of the .local, so it looks nicer for me and people will know where it's to log in, read our blog stuff, right? So it's all about spamming, huh? So click next. Okay, so here we can set the force functional levels. That's 4 choices: 2000, 2003, 2008, or R2. In this case, everything installed will be on the R2 version, so this is what I'm going to use. If you have stuff out there that still exists with this versions, you can select of your choice. Just select what I needed and just click next. Okay, at this time we can choose to install DNS server as well, so I'm going to click next. Okay, so you see the delegation for this DNS server cannot be created because authority parent zone cannot be found. So basically this is going to be the domain DNS server, so I just click next. Yes. Okay, so here's the database folder locations. Usually you don't want to put it on a C drive, but this is for test lab. I'm going to put the database in the log file for the NTDS. Send to the sys volumes. Just click next. You need to provide the password for the restore mode. In case something wrong with your server that you want to recover, you need to provide this for the restoration process. Just click next. And here's the summary of what we just went through. Pretty straightforward. And just click next. And I would like to check this reboot on completions when it's done. So just wait for a while and then we can resume back. Okay, so this server's already ran the DC promo, and now we have domain controllers running right now. Let's test it out real quick. Go to start, all programs, administrative tools. Here's Active Directory, users, and computer. Right click on this, you can send it to desktop so you can use it. Okay, and then we just expand this real quick. So this is currently the domain controllers called the VMware.net. We have 6 built-in organization units, users, managed service account, foreign secure principal. As you can see, computers here too, domain controllers. Here's one of it. If you want to view advanced features, add some more. So let's create a test OU real quick, okay? I name it Orlando OU, right? Within the Orlando office, I just want to make sure I have a OU call servers. And just another one is sales. Let me create multiple OUs and we resume real quick. Okay, so let's create a couple more users real quick. Let's create another OU call users, much better for organizations. Alright, so the users, I want to create a group. Same thing, create another group. It's the same process, but you can create many groups as you can. So right click on it, create users. And if you have multiple domain, you can drop down, select it. At this point, we only have one, so that's what it is. And here's our login account. Next. Provide a password. Repeat. Since I'm going to be eventually the domain admins, I don't want anything to be expired. I don't want to change my password. I just click finish. Alright, let's double click on mine. You can fill in this field if you would. I just want to add my member permissions real quick. So I want to be a domain admin, enterprise admins, sales, VMware admins. Of course, I will add more groups when we, close to the series. Alright, that's a good start right there. Now let's install additional services. Let's see, roles right here. We click on that. So we have DNS server as well. So let's open DNS real quick. Alright, expand the domain here. We have forward lookup zone and reverse. We don't have reverse right now, but let's check the forward real quick. At this point, there's no objects on the network right now, so you only see one, which is the DC. Let's create a reverse zone real quick. Right click on it and create new zone. Pretty straightforward. Click next, and we want to be the primary zone. Click next. We want to be to all DNS servers running in a domain control in this domain, that's what we want. We don't need IPv6, so we only have this choice, IPv4. Click next. Now just type in your reverse zone for the network, your IP network, pretty much. Just click next. And here's recommended for Active Directory. This is our AD, so this is what it needs to check. Click next. And that's the summary. Finish. And voila, there is your reverse zone. Let's create a host real quick. Next one, I would like to create a host name. It's called ESX01, right? IP address, I want to start with 100, and I want a pointer record as well. Okay, I need an X02. Same thing, just give an IP. There you go. So that I can use that as for the cluster later, right? As you can see, it replicates from the forward to the reverse, so it keeps records of it, right? So that's DNS. Now let's do a DHCP server real quick, okay? So in the roles, click on add roles. Click next. Now as you can see, we already have the Active Directory installed, the DNS servers installed. Now let's check the HCP real quick. Okay, so DHCP, click next. This introduction to the HCP. If you want to read it, go ahead, click next. And that's our address for the DC. Click next. And this is, it's going to use a local loopback IP address. That's fine with me. So this is domain, so click next. We don't have win, so don't worry about that part. And let's add the scope real quick. This scope I want to is clients, right? Name it to be like XP or Windows 7 clients starting 192.168.230. Nah, let's do a 162.180. All right, 20 IPs. That's too much for a lab, right? And I also just want to give them a gateway in case, but this is optional, right? Here's our subnet mask, and we want to activate the scope right now. So click OK, and click next. And this is a stateless mode. You want the DHCP v6 or what? Well, you don't have any version 6, so you don't care about that part. And what credential it uses to activate the scope services, I'm going to have the default, which is. And here's our summaries and the scope range from 160 to 180, 20 IP address, lease, 88 days, install. Okay, DHCP server installation is succeeded. Just click closed. All right, let's see it. Where's it at? Let's open the console. There you go. Here's our scope. If you want to have any reservations, you can right click on this and create new reservations. That is for anybody who has a large range of IP addresses and excluded to a certain range for a static server IP address, right? So you can activate that, which I don't need. I already have static IP address ranges for I already use, so I'm not going to use it. Address pool, here's our pool. So that's how you install and configure DHCP server. Is pretty straightforward. Alright, let's try to install a web server real quick. Click next. Let's choose web server, IIS, click next. Here's introduction, what is a web server, you can read that, click next. And here are the components and features and roles and services just require whatever your choice you want to. You can uncheck. I want also ASP.NET. I also want this to be an FTP server. And I want the IaaS management console so I can administer that. You can choose what kind of secure authentications you want. That is pretty much for now. Just click install. Okay, the web server is already installed. I also installed the FTP server as well. Let's test this real quick. Okay, so the web server is already installed. Let's see this. Here's our local host. There you see it's IIS. It's already installed. Perfect.